Thank you for tuning into the Phillip Scott Show. My name is Danielle DeVita, and I am a proud contributor. So I wanted to go a little bit more in detail in regards to this divestment thing. If you listen to my last video, I talked about a woman who said that she is pretty much tired of Black men because they are not doing the things that they need to do pretty much to be a leader. And she is pretty much quantified this as a Black man issue rather than this is today's issue that we're having in this society, where society is making our women more masculine, thereby bringing on more feminine men into their lives. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. I have a few videos I wanted to go into because it's not enough to go into it in one video. I think it's highly important that if you are a woman, you should stop listening to videos that surround the idea of not dating Black men. And the reason why is because there's a more to it than it's just because they're the Black men are not doing this, not doing that. A lot of it has to do with your vetting. Of course, your femininity. I think if you're more feminine, you're going to attract men who are more masculine, and they are going to be leaders and not letting you, be this ride or die and want you to support them and things like that. Because that's more of a feminine trait, not a masculine man. And then if you are someone who is understanding your insecurities and putting those in the check and getting the coaching that you need, you won't also be feeling the need to be desperate to be with these type of men, staying in a relationship longer than you should be in. You're likely to say, you know what, this is not healthy and let me get out of this type of relationship. So you won't be as jaded because you want to spend years into a relationship and then now feeling exhausted like the woman in the last video. But the reason why I want to talk about this is because there's a woman that is pretty much saying the same thing. So I'm going to roll that clip and then I'll explain it. It's only a minute long, but it's important because while she's talking, I don't know if you can see it, there's a hashtag sprinkle. And I'm going to go into why this is important. So let me roll that clip.
As a dark-skinned Black woman with Black features, 4C, unkept, unlaid hair, one of the best things I've done for my dating life is to stop dating Black men. Sorry. As a Princeton graduate, a high-achieving Black woman, most very successful upper echelon Black guys are extremely colorist, and even if they do date Black women, it's typically like, you're a 7 versus white chocolate. Like, we are just so loved and exotic all over the world that it's night and day. So if you're scared to date interracially, all I have to say is a woman in her feminine energy goes where she is wanted and desired. Do not block yourself out from a whole world because one group of people are saying they don't like you.
So if you listen to what she said, she almost essentially sounds like the woman in the last video, except it almost seems like her issue is it's hard to find a upper class Black man who is into her looks as a dark-skinned Black woman. Now, I always thought of myself as dark-skinned, or at least into society I would be considered dark-skinned, or brown, I guess, for some people, but I'm not light-skinned. But I will say this, because I am hearing, and I do believe that women are sometimes having these issues with colorism, and I do believe it exists. I know it exists, but I will be honest, in my life, I've never had a Black man say anything about the color of my skin or what my hair looks like, what my natural hair looks like. And I think that sometimes when you are faced with these issues, you take some of those insecurities out. But I also would say, in regards to the whole sprinkle thing, which I think is Shira 7, she has said this. But the problem with if you listen to people on social media is they'll say one thing, got you leaving your whole race, and they're not doing that. Do you understand that she is married to a Black man? She's married to a Black man. And so let me just roll this clip of what she said. I'm not the whole thing, but just a portion of it.
I'm just going to be 1,000% honest. If I were 22 today, I would not be dating Black men at all, unless they were older. They'd have to be real old. Because they're too feminine these days for me. I like masculine, go get them, I'm gonna pay for that baby type men.
So she says if she was 22 today, she would not date a black man. And the reason why I have a problem with this is, and I think she's a masculine woman. So even though she speaks as she is kind of, seductress and feminine, she's actually not feminine. If you go into Proverbs 2, if actually all of Proverbs, it talks often about this seductress woman. She is the opposite of wisdom. She is essentially like the man that they describe as the evil man or foolish man. So they often talk about this woman who is the opposite of wisdom. She is seducing. She is almost like a Jezebel spirit type of woman. And this is Shira 7. She is really taking all of you black women, and she is about to literally have you guys in a burning building, basically. And the thing about it is, yes, no, she's not 22 today. And so she could say, well, I was just saying if I was 22 today. But the problem with this is, I don't know any alpha black male that will allow, and I do say allow, his woman, because that's a representation of him and her, allow her to go on social media and talk about a whole group of race, telling a whole group of people, knowing the type of presence that she has, to not date black men in today's society. I don't know a black man that would do that. Not a masculine black man who is proud of who he is. And so the problem when you listen to people like this, they will lead you astray, and they're not doing exactly what they say they're doing. Now you're telling people not to be with black men, and then you have a black man. How would that look for your daughters to grow up and see this? They grow up, they'll listen to your content. They find out, okay, well, in this today, I shouldn't date a black man, but my dad is black. What are you teaching them? And I think this is quite sad, because this has nothing to do with dating black men. The issue that you have is having to do with a deadbeat kind of man. And I use that term man loosely, because a true man, a true masculine man, is not going to allow you to be the provider. Most men today are in their feminine, who are talking like this, are in their feminine energy. So I think that if you are a woman and you're talking about leaving an entire group of people because you're listening to content like this is going to keep you further from being married. Yeah, she's married. Yes, she has a black husband, but she is telling you guys to do the opposite of what she's doing in her life. And I think this is quite sad. And yes, I'm going to keep talking about her type of content, because it's not just her. There are other women doing the very same thing, and their life is not living up to what they're saying. And they're also living this, there's this facade about how they feel about black men. But I truly believe if she had a man who was doing, everything that these women saying that black men aren't doing, then she should be using her content to promote, well, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that all black men are doing this. I think that it could be, what's happening in your relationships. What is it that you are bringing about to get men like this? Why are you staying in relationships like this? Instead, she makes it a black man issue. And then she furthermore explained why, which is another reason why I truly believe that if her man heard this content, he wouldn't be too happy about it if he was truly a masculine man. So I'm just going to play this clip really quick.
Y'all take too long to get y'all stuff together? Y'all want us to pay half the bills and sleep with you? No, can't do that. I'm not saying that other men are better than you. I'm just saying they're more ambitious than you. Yes, you can play basketball and football really good.
Now, if I heard, and I've been around, I've seen men who are not living up to what the expectations are for a man. But if my husband heard me have this type of content on social media, it would be a poor representation of black men, and he would not like that. So he would be like, no, I think you should take this down. And you know what? Maybe her man could have done that. But if she still put it up again, then that still says a lot about their relationship. So I hope that you guys, don't consume this content, because it will eat away at you. And sometimes also watching content like this can make you angry and bitter. It changes your mood. It has a negative mood. So I hope that you look at all men in a holistic view of, okay, they're men, so now I need to figure out how to get a masculine man, a man that is going to be a provider, that is going to be a protector, that I won't feel like I have to support, a man who is intentional about what he wants out of life. And masculine men exhibit all those traits. A man who is intentional, he knows what he wants, he has a great representation of self, he has a great attitude, he has great connections with others, so he's resourceful and getting the things that is necessary and your want. This is a man who's not going to be bickering and arguing with you. He is straightforward, and a lot of times women don't like that if they're in their masculine. So you say you want this type of man, but if you're in your masculine, that man will be far away from you, or that relationship won't work out. And a lot of times we think that the man he was never intentional because the relationship ended, and it really was because he saw that relationship was putting a strain on his peace. So, you were not amicable. You didn't, you was always arguing in a relationship. You were someone who was testing him often, testing his authority. And he's like, hey, as a man, I want to be a leader. And again, this is not control, but he wants to lead. And it can't be two people leading. So if you're trying to lead and you're trying to be in control, that man is going to say, you know what, you can take that role and I'm out. So that is all I have for you. So hopefully if you listen to this content over here, then you understand that the goal is to be more balanced and helping you understand that it's not a black man issue. It's just an issue with the type of man that you're dating. And if you're with a masculine man, you won't have to worry about the issues that these women are expressing. So to learn more about my content, you can see me on social media, Mrs. Danielle DeVita. Thank you again for tuning into the Phillip Scott Show. Take care.